welcome to the Pearl and the Echo podcast. I'm Jim, and this is Dori, and our plan is that every week we come together, connect with a quote, and if the quote is the pearl, then the echo is how it lands with us, what stories it brings out in Dori and I, and where it takes us, and also, therefore, where it takes you, that person here listening. In our first episode, Dori told me what her quote was, and this is our second episode, and I've not told Dori what my quote is. So coming in blind on this one. And it's a simple one, and it's from David Copperfield, written by Charles Dickens. And it goes like this. My advice is never do tomorrow what you can do today. Procrastination is the thief of time. Let me read it again. My advice is never do tomorrow what you can do today. Procrastination is the thief of time. And I've chosen this one. So today's the 13th of January, so we're 13 days into this year, and I've already had dozens of conversations with people about how difficult it is to start new things, or how easy it is to stop yourself, or how easy it is to listen to your own resistance, or how easy it is to be a perfectionist and say, well, yeah, no, I'm not quite ready. It needs to be better.
Yeah.
Let me wait and I'll do it better. I'll do it more. And of course, we can be talking about little things, or we can be talking about huge, big life things. And a bugbear of mine, and Dori, you know this anyway, is how people say, you know, when I'm living my purpose, I'll be happy.
Right.
So what we do is we're all like, right, well, I'll sit here and wait. And when my purpose shows itself, then I will do it and I will be the happiest person in the world and life will be wonderful. But that's a complete illusion, and that doesn't exist. And there's no such thing as your purpose in life. What there is for me is purposeful living each day. And procrastination is the thief of time. And I like the way he goes with that, because money comes and money goes, and success comes and success goes, and life is good and life is bad. But time, that's the problem. That's the only one that you can't really control or give away. You know, as years go by, we're all sitting there wondering about, you know, how will life be? I really hope. I had a conversation just today with someone who was saying, well, I put my faith in God that life will be great in X amount of time. And I'm like, all right, cool. Okay,
what about
maybe
now?
maybe that works. Maybe that works. But at the same time, good luck with that, because what if God is busy that day or forgot you, or maybe God is expecting you to actually take some action today and then can go, right, cool. All right, Jim did something. Well, let's give him something to help him on his way. To defer, to stall. If you look in a thesaurus, you know, to procrastinate is to defer, to stall, or to delay. And I'm a human being. I know life is difficult. It is challenging to go, all right, let's do it. Today is the day that I give that thing up, or today's the day that I do that thing. And we put all this pressure on ourselves. And I feel it's because we're requiring some kind of goal. You know, when I'm living my purpose, everything will be wonderful. When actually all you've got is today anyway. So I'm just going to throw this one at Dori and see where it lands with her. How does that one land with you?
I feel like you're calling me out for not editing our podcast.
Nice.
Yeah, I mean, this is who doesn't procrastinate? You know, for me, perfectionism and procrastination are like two peas in a pod. You know, they're like, hey, you know, let's overthink this thing that we want to do. And that's like us working on it. So it's fine if we don't actually do it. We're still, you know, we're still mulling it over. We're just not quite ready yet, because we need to perfect it in our minds. And it's like, no, you perfect it when you start doing it, when you start seeing it, when it's like tangible in time and space. Yeah, the thief of time. You know, time is weird. Time is a weird construct. I read something recently that there used to be actually like 13 months, and then they took one out or something like that. And I was like, that's so weird, right? Because, you know, and there's different calendars and people follow different holidays and, you know, some of that matters maybe like historically or spiritually, but at the end of the day, all you have is right now, this moment, this second. Anything could happen tomorrow. Anything could happen in an hour from now. You could get a phone call. You could, go out into the world this afternoon, this evening, and things could completely change. So I say all of that being, on the weekend, I think I was saying I am like a productive procrastinator. That's what I was saying to my partner. And I'm like, I'm procrastinating on this thing, but while that's not getting done, I'm doing all these other things. So it's okay that I haven't done that thing. Even though I like set myself a deadline for that other thing, that deadline is come and gone. We betray ourselves, I think, in the procrastination, and we become victims of time. And there's this whole mindset that I think many of us adopt, and it's a time scarcity mindset. I don't have enough time to do that, so I'm not even going to start. I'm too busy. I get it. Like, yeah, like people have jobs, social obligations, children, parents, all of it. But again, you made time to listen to this podcast. It's short and sweet.
Yeah.
So what else can you make time for? There's some things that take minutes to just like breathing can completely change your whole body in a few minutes. We did our 1 minute of silence before we started recording, completely changed the whole vibe
Yeah.
of
Didn't
how
it?
of how we were gonna record today. Yeah, like it's time is not infinite, but the present moment, I think, is, or it can be if you tap in.
Yeah. What I find is that if I start talking about procrastination and just say to someone, just get on and do it, they say, well, yeah, but that's easy for you to say. But like you said, well, I've got this and the cake to school and this thing, and and I'm exhausted. You're asking more of me, and I like, yeah, but how long have you spent on Instagram today? What is the first thing you did when you woke up this morning? And we've all got these excuses and we defend every action. We're all really intelligent and we're able to defend every action we take throughout the
Yep.
day. But we go from one extreme to the other. We kind of say, well, no, yeah, but it wasn't me. No, it was them. Have a look at someone else. I'm doing my best here, and we
Yeah.
are all like
Yeah.
oversaturated and exhausted, living in a highly over sensationalist world. How many clients or how many people? For example, I have a client who in England who is an artist and would go, right, okay, I'm going to go into my studio today for 3 hours. But the first hour was tidying up and doing the, washing up and cleaning the little kitchen, or, oh no, it's all a mess. And yeah, I mean, when I write, I kind of need everything to be in order, but then you still sit down and write. That turning up at the page, the horror of turning up at the page, I think, isn't it, in The Artist's Way, Julie Campbell talks about, how scary it is to turn up at the page and just
Yeah.
sit and do it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Why do we do that?
I think there's a lot of self-doubt. I think there's a lot of like comparison, like, oh, these people over here are doing this better, so like why should I even bother trying, or someone else is already doing it. To me, I hear those voices and then I say, through our work and through years of, building self-confidence, like, okay, but how can you make it better, right? How can you make it yours? Just because somebody else is doing it doesn't mean that you're going to do it the exact same way, right? I think there's a million reasons probably why we do this to ourselves. Some of it is kind of like self-preservation, self-protection, but I think some of it is just systems that we've been raised in. Like everything is structured in a certain way, and if you are living in those structures, then there isn't a lot of time. And if you're not able to go through your day in a way that fuels you, then you're gonna be exhausted at the end of the day. You're gonna sit in front of the couch and mindlessly watch whatever it is that you're watching while scrolling through your phone at the same time, which like I don't know how people do that. It's like you're looking at two things. But if what you've got on is vapid enough, like you can be scrolling through memes while watching whatever show is out there. And it's all a big distraction. There's so many distractions. And what I know deep in my soul is that I'm never going to feel better watching an episode of anything, truly anything. Like, could be one of the best shows that's been written ever. It'll never feel as good as being in this room and just messing around with like pastels on a blank page. It will never, ever, ever
Yeah. Yeah.
feel the same way. And I think that's what we have to remind ourselves every time you reach for the remote or the phone or whatever it is. Like, why? Am I trying to tune out or am I trying to refuel my cup? If I'm trying to refuel my cup, you got to put the tech down.
Yeah. Yeah, completely.
And I say that knowing I'm scrolling all the time, knowing that, we need the tech to record our podcast. We need the tools, but I put this up recently, like they're just tools. We can't let the tools use us. We got to use the tools.
That's so true. I feel that, modern life, it's really hard being a human, and modern life is really hard, and everything is geared up for us to live in a very kind of slave-like culture where we have to have a job and we go to our job, and most of us don't really like it, even though we can pretend that we like it, but we've got all these bills that we have to pay, so we have to have the job to pay the bills, and we get in this cycle that we don't really like to be in. And then, of course, we self-soothe after that with whatever it is, from drugs to alcohol to social media, whatever, because it's just horrible to live in an existence that you don't really like to live in. But there's time. If all these things are the thief of our time, including procrastination, including social media, it only takes a couple of minutes to just sit down and let a poem come out of you. And that feeling of finishing writing a manuscript or finishing a painting or a picture or finishing a piece of music that you've made, and like you say, Dori, it doesn't matter what happens next. There must be there probably are a million podcasts that exist. There are, I'm sure, a million more podcasts of two people sitting there discussing a quote. But it doesn't matter, because you and I decided, well, let's do this. Let's just do it and see what happens. And it doesn't matter if it's a complete failure, and it doesn't matter if it's a complete success. There's this internal need within us to express something, and we do it. And when you go, there's no point, nothing good will happen, you're not focusing on the need you have inside. You're focusing on some imaginary result that actually will probably never happen. You're picking one future when there is no one future. There's kind of lots of little futures, and you'll cherry pick your way through them as you go through time.
Yeah, there's a Buddhist concept there, right? Isn't it like thousands? I forget. I feel like you would know better, where it's like in any given moment, there's
in any given, there are 3,000 possibilities in every single moment. And it's like, oh, okay, well, and if I brush my teeth, eat food, go to my work, whatever, I'm probably only doing maybe a couple of hundred of those, but there are thousands more that you haven't even touched on, and yet you're complaining how boring your own life is.
Yeah.
Procrastination is the thief of time.
Don't put off today what you can do. Don't put off tomorrow. What's the rest of the quote?
Never do tomorrow what you can do today.
There we go. Because I know that I have this challenge, and we all do. I've read books. I think literally the book is like Getting Stuff Done or something. There's 1,000 books like that, right? And one of the most useful parts of that, and I was using kind of like a system from that book, but systems work until you realize you need to figure out what your own system is. But one of the most useful parts of that I love is, if it takes 2 minutes, do it now, right? So like, you've been thinking about that email that you have to send, probably going to take you 2 minutes. If it takes 5, okay, well, who cares, right? Like, but if in your mind you can estimate it's going to take me 2 minutes, then just do it now, right? I've got a bunch of dishes right now sitting in my sink on the counter. I have to put them in the dishwasher. In my mind, I'm like, oh, that's going to take me forever. But it only takes 5 minutes, 10 minutes tops. Like, it's, there's not that many dishes. We're just going to put them in the dishwasher like right after we finish recording, right?
Yeah.
Because I think that's the thing, is some people are really good at estimating time and some people are not. And you can be really intense about it and start kind of timing yourself and see how long things take. Other procrastination things I have on my list, piles of laundry. There's all sorts of fun memes where it's like, okay, to do laundry, it takes like a few hours because the machine is doing it for you, right? If like ideally, right? But then the folding of the laundry, takes like 7 to 10 business days, right? And that's procrastination. Like if it's dry and it's just sitting there, like fold it. Like make it into a little ritual. I have a friend that loves folding laundry. In the background, she will put on Mr. Rogers. And I'm like, that sounds lovely. I listen to podcasts or whatever book I'm listening to at the time. And then it's okay, then you don't feel like you're doing this mundane task that you have to do every week or every few weeks. Um but there's also, I think, power in doing it in silence. Sometimes I've consumed so many things, and by the time I get to laundry, I'm like, okay, I could put on my book, or I
Yeah.
could just sit here with my thoughts. The
Yeah, I
scariest
could just
place on earth,
enjoy the
right?
silence. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And just observe your thoughts
And
and
do the
just live.
practice, do the
Yeah.
practice of the practice, which is to just do your work. Many of us run away from doing our work because we're scared or because it's not a good idea or because whatever the reason is. And of course, mundane things like stuff around the house and also that book that you want to write.
Mm.
Oh, yeah, but I've got all these ideas, but so sit down for 5 minutes each day and just write and see what happens. And
Yeah.
that 5 minutes won't be 5 minutes. Before you know it, that 5 minutes is half an hour, and then you've loved it and you've enjoyed yourself. I remember
Yeah.
I was writing a story a while ago, and I hadn't planned the story at all, and was just writing, and the main character's mother dies in the story. And I'm writing this as it's coming through me, and I start crying, and I'm sitting there crying going, wow, this is, oh my God, that's so sad, and I never would have had that experience of, oh, wow, that's, what a sweet thing if I hadn't sat down and
Yeah.
gone, all right, I'm just going to do that. I don't care if it's good or bad. Let's just do it. And then I'll go back and edit it later and just, if it's good, it's good. And if it's not good, well, someone's going to tell me, but at least it's out there and done, and you get to enjoy it as you're doing it. Just like you can enjoy folding the laundry if you want. It's a decision. You can decide to enjoy it or you can
Mhm.
decide to hate it. It's still the
Yeah.
same thing and the same you, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. It's making me think of practicing piano, and I love the piano. I'm not good at it, but I love just sitting down and just practicing scales. And when I was doing piano lessons more actively, they say, okay, like 10, 15 minutes every day, sit down, practice. And I wouldn't, right? I would be like, I don't have 10, 15 minutes a day, which is like, if you don't have 10, 15 minutes a day, then something is seriously wrong in your life. And you need to think about that and have conversations with those around you and your community to find that time and make that time for yourself. But yeah, and then on the days when I would sit down and practice, I would be there for like half an hour minimum, or like an hour would go by and I would be like, what? Oh, dinner's ready. Oh, thank you. Okay. It's been how long? you know, because you get into flow, like all of these activities, you're never going to be in flow in front of a TV or when you're scrolling through your phone. That is a different type of, we can't even use the word flow. It's like a drone or like I don't know. I don't know what the best word is, but it's not it. And flow state is so important for our brains and longevity. It's so good for you. It's so good for you. And it feels good. You know when you're in a flow state because everything just falls away. And so why are we procrastinating from that feeling?
Yeah, it doesn't
It
make any
seems
sense.
insane.
Yeah.
It seems insane.
But it's because we jump over that and we jump to the result and
Yeah.
we think about what might happen or what won't happen,
Yeah.
instead of just gifting yourself the experience in the moment.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, let me just read that again and we'll finish. So, my advice is never do tomorrow what you can do today. Procrastination is the thief of time. So, if you've listened to this and you'd like to ask us a question or share something with us, that would be amazing. Please feel free to do so. We will leave it here. Thank you so much, and we'll see you in our next episode.
Yeah, thanks everyone. And remember, if there's might be a million 2-minute acts that are nagging in your brain right now, or maybe just the one. So if it's going to take you 2 minutes, just do it right now. And if you're driving, do it when you park.
Exactly.
Thanks,
Perfect.
everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to the Pearl and the Echo podcast with me, Dori Sim, and my co-host, Jim Rajan. Thank you to Rebel Mixtape Productions for editing this episode. If you like what you heard, like, subscribe, and share with those in your life that matter most.